All right, thanks, guys. We went 3-1 yesterday in our premium selections on patreon.com/Brock Page. We're also hitting at 65% for the entire college football season on that website. Link for that site is in the description section below. That's patreon.com/Brock Page. All right, the Iowa Hawkeyes take on Nebraska, 2:30 Eastern kickoff this Friday. Iowa's minus 5.5, total 44 and a hook. We saw a half a point move toward Iowa and movement downward on the total. The Hawkeyes open minus 5 up to minus 5.5. Total open 47 all the way down to 44 and a hook. 58% are leaning Hawkeyes, 54% shaded toward the under. Right now, Nebraska is plus $1.90 on the money line. Nebraska is also one of the worst covering teams in college football. Just 2-9 against the spread overall for the year. They also failed to cover in 5 out of their 6 games at home. They rank 105th in the country in home scoring, 128th in defensive time of possession. Now the Hawkeyes on the other side, 3-1 against the number in their last 4. They also rank in the top 5 in points allowed. Total-wise, Iowa's 90% to the under in their last 10. Nebraska 5-2 to the under in their last 7. I'm going to lean Hawkeyes minus 5.5 and the under 44.5 in that game. Next matchup, Cincinnati taking on Memphis. That's going to be another 3:30 Eastern kickoff on Friday. Memphis is the 11.5 point favorite. Total at 57 and a hook. We did see a little bit of movement upward on the total in this matchup. Once again, Memphis minus 11.5. Total open 56.5 up to 57 and a hook. 54% are leaning Cincinnati. 66% shaded toward the over. Right now, the Bearcats are plus 355 on the money line. The Bearcats are 5-1 straight up away from home this year. Pretty good when traveling. They also rank in the top 25 in points allowed, top 30 in yards allowed per play. Now Memphis on the other side, they failed to cover in 3 out of their last 6. They're also 78th in rush yards allowed. Total-wise, Memphis 7-1 to the over in their last 8. I'm going to lean toward the road dog in this one. Give me Cincinnati plus 11.5 and the over 57 and a hook in that matchup. Next game, we're going to slide into some Saturday action, and it is going to be Ohio State taking on Michigan. 12 o'clock Eastern kickoff at the Big House. The Buckeyes are minus 8.5, totals at 50. 64% of the consensus are leaning toward Ohio State. 65% shaded toward the over. Right now, Michigan's plus 275 on the money line. Michigan also ranks 80th in offensive yards per play at home, 77th in defensive time of possession. Ohio State on the other side, arguably the best team in the country. They're 11-0 straight up on the year, 8-3 against the spread in those 11 games. They rank in the top 3 in scoring, top 5 in rushing. And when it comes to this total, Ohio State is 60% to the over in their last 5 games. Michigan 6-3 to the over in their last 9. I'm going to lean Buckeyes minus 8.5. And the over 50 total points in that game. Before we go ahead and move on, just want to take another quick timeout and welcome you to the show. Got some lines of personal leans out for college football week 14. For a lot of these teams, it is the last week, especially those non-bowl eligible teams, those non-conference championship eligible teams as well. So we are getting down toward the end here. But before we go ahead and dive into some more lines of personal leans, I just want to quickly remind you once again to check me out on my website at patreon.com/Brock Page, where once again we went 3-1 in our premium selections yesterday on that website. We're also hitting at 65% for the entire college football season on that site as well. And of course, at the end of this show, I will tell you the difference between what we do here on YouTube and what we do on the Patreon page. But if you want to check out my current record for free, you can do that right now. All you have to do is click the link in the description section below. That's patreon.com/Brock Page. My record is right there on the homepage. All right, let's go ahead and dive into some more free lines of personal leans right here on YouTube. All starts Eastern Standard Time. And on deck, we've got Clemson taking on South Carolina. 12 o'clock Eastern kickoff in that game. Clemson's minus 27 on the road, total 50.5. We did see a 1-point move toward the Tigers and movement downward on the total. Clemson open 26, up to minus 27. Total open 52, down to 50 and a hook. 57% are leaning Clemson, 69% shaded toward the over. Right now, South Carolina is plus 23.25 on the money line. Now, South Carolina ranks in the top 35 in home offensive rushing. They're also in the top 30 in home defensive rushing as well. So really tough to run against these guys. Pretty stout defense with regard to rushing. They're also 5-2 straight up in their last 7 at home, dating back to last year. So a very good team at home, very capable of an upset. Once again, South Carolina 5-1 against the number in their last 6 at home, hosting Clemson as well. So a very good covering against Clemson on their home field over the past couple of seasons. Now, total-wise, we're looking at a South Carolina squad who's 3-0 to the under in their last 3. 6 out of their last 8 stayed under the total as well. Meanwhile, Clemson on the other side, 60% to the under in their last 10. I'm going to lean toward the home dog in this one. Give me South Carolina plus 27 and the under 50.5 in that game. Next matchup, Wisconsin taking on Minnesota, and that is a 3:30 Eastern kickoff in that matchup there. Minnesota is not favored at home here. Wisconsin's minus 2.5, total 55 and a hook. We did see a half a point fade of Wisconsin and movement downward on the total. The Badgers open minus 3, down to minus 2.5, total open 47, down to 45 and a hook. 57% are leaning Minnesota, 56% shaded toward the under. Right now, the Golden Gophers are plus 120 on the money line at home. They're also 10-1 straight up on the year, 8-3 against the spread in those 11 games. They're 7-1 against the spread in their last 8. They also rank in the top 20 in scoring, top 10 in pass yards allowed. Wisconsin, on the other side, not all that great covering the number. They're a strong team, but they haven't been doing a good job covering that point spread for their backers. They failed to cover in 4 out of their last 5. They're also covering just 40% of their games on the road. They rank 102nd in passing yards on average per game. They're also 67th in rushing yards allowed on the road. When it comes to this total, Wisconsin 3-0 to the over in their last 3. Meanwhile, Minnesota 4-1 to the over in their last 5. I'm going to purchase the half a point, buy it up, and take Minnesota plus 3 and the over 45.5 in that game. Next matchup, Alabama taking on Auburn. And that's going to be a 3:30 Eastern tip-off in that game. Believe it or not, Alabama's still the favorite in this one. They're minus 3.5, total at 49 and a hook. We did see a 2.5 point move downward. I'm sorry, a 1.5 point move downward on the total in this matchup here. So once again, the Crimson Tide are minus 3.5, total open 51, down to 49 and a hook. 58% are leaning Alabama, 53% shaded toward the under. Right now, Auburn's plus $1.55 on the money line. The Tigers are 8-3 straight up on the year, 8-3 against the spread. They're 11th in points allowed, top 10 in yards allowed per play, and they've successfully covered the number in 4 out of their last 5 at home. Now, Alabama on the other side, they rank 67th in defensive time of possession. They're also 86th in road rushing, 55th in pass yards allowed on the road as well. When it comes to this total, obviously Tua is out for the season. Total-wise, Alabama 60% to the over in their last 10. I'm going to purchase the half a point, buy it up, and take Auburn plus 4 and the over 49.5 in that game. Next matchup, Notre Dame taking on Stanford. And that'll be a 4 o'clock Eastern kickoff in that matchup. The Fighting Irish are minus 16.5 on the road, total 46.5. Not a whole lot of movement on this total, although we did see a 1.5 point move toward Notre Dame in the early wagering. So once again, the Fighting Irish open 15 up to minus 16.5. Total's 46 and a hook. 63% are leaning Notre Dame, 56% shaded toward the under. Right now, Stanford's plus 630 on the money line. Stanford has also failed to cover in their last 3 straight. They're just 2-8 against the spread in their last 10 as well. They rank 110th in scoring, 119th in pass yards allowed. Meanwhile, Notre Dame on the other side, top 15 in scoring, 3-0 against the number in their last 3. And when it comes to this total, Notre Dame's 5-2 to the under in their last 7. I'm going to lean Fighting Irish minus 16.5 and the under 46.5 in that game. All right, next matchup. It is going to be Texas A&M taking on LSU. 7 o'clock Eastern tip-off in that game. The Tigers are minus 17, total 64. We saw a 1 point move toward LSU and movement upward on the total. The Tigers open as the 16-point favorite. They're now minus 17. Total open 63 up to 64. 52% are leaning LSU. 75% shaded toward the over. Right now, Texas A&M is plus 630 on the money line. Now, Texas A&M is 4-1 against the spread in their last 5. They rank in the top 10 in offensive time of possession. They're also 21st in pass yards allowed. LSU, on the other side, they failed to cover in 3 out of their last 4. They're also just 2-4 against the spread at home this year. They rank 88th in offensive time of possession. and 72nd in pass yards allowed. Now, total-wise, we're looking at a Texas A&M team who's 2-0 to the under in their last couple of games. Also, 4 out of their last 5 games on the road stayed under the total as well. I'm going to lean toward the road dog in this one. Give me Texas A&M plus 17 and the under 64 in that game. And I'm going to slide my next and final matchup for the show. It is going to be Oklahoma taking on Oklahoma State. 8 o'clock Eastern kickoff in that game. The Sooners are minus 13, total 69. We saw a half a point fade of Oklahoma and movement downward on the total. The Sooners open 13.5 down to minus 13. Total open 71 down to 69. 58% are leaning Oklahoma State. 74% shaded toward the over. Right now the Cowboys of Oklahoma State are plus 375 on the money line. The Cowboys rank in the, well, they're not very good in several categories. They rank 116th in pass yards allowed, 81st in defensive time of possession. They're also 80th in offensive pass yards at home. Oklahoma on the other side, top 5 in scoring, 10-1 overall, top 3 in yards per play on average. The Sooners are 2-0 to the under in their last couple of games. Oklahoma State, 3-1 to the under in their last 4. I'm going to lean Oklahoma Sooners minus 13 and the under 69 in that game. All right, let's go ahead and slide into our quick pick recap. Once again, brought to you by patreon.com/BrockPage, where we are hitting at 65% for the entire college football season on that website. I like Oklahoma Sooners minus 13 under 69. Texas A&M plus 17 under 64. Notre Dame minus 16.5 under 46 and a hook. Auburn plus 4 over 49.5. Minnesota plus 3 over 45 and a hook. South Carolina plus 27 under 50.5. Ohio State minus 8.5 over 50 points. Cincinnati plus 11.5 over 57 and a hook. And last but certainly not least, I like the Iowa Hawkeyes minus 5.5 and the under 44 and a hook in that game. All right, guys, that's going to do it for me. Once again, don't forget to check me out on my website at patreon.com/BrockPage, where once again we are hitting at 65% for the entire college football season on that website. We also went 3-1 in our premium selections yesterday on that site as well. Now, a lot of folks will ask me, what's the difference between what you do here on YouTube and what you do on your Patreon page? And I tell them this. Typically, what we do here on YouTube is we handicap every single game on the board, both the side and the total, or we'll handicap many of the games, but especially in professional sports, we will handicap every single game on the professional board, both the side and the total. And if you were to bet your hard-earned money that way, betting every single game side and total, you're going to guaranteed 100% lose your money in the long run. And as a matter of fact, you're probably going to end up losing it in the short run. The books are too smart. They're too sharp. The math is always against you. So what we do on Patreon is we really kind of narrow it down and focus in on 3 to 4 premium selections per day. They're games that I personally have action on. And I'll tell you this much, my current record on Patreon is a whole lot better than it is on YouTube. And you can check that out right now. All you have to do is click the link in the description section below. That's patreon.com/BrockPage. But most importantly, guys, I got to thank you for joining me right here on YouTube. I really hope you enjoyed all this great free content, all this great free information. Happy Friday to you. Best of luck to you. And I look forward to seeing you on patreon.com/BrockPage.